Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about my Roaccutane journey. A bit scary for me. It was a little while ago, so it was 2 years ago now. So where do we start? Right at the beginning. So let's take it right back to 2016. I'd been with my boyfriend Levi for just over a year, and I started getting some really bad acne. So this was a pretty stressful period of time in my life. I was doing my masters at uni, really struggling with money, moved out of home, so having to pay rent, so it was a really stressful time. But in saying that, I hadn't had acne since I was in high school. So I was 20 at the time. So I'd gone through that period of high school acne, stopped, and then it had come back. I'll insert some photos. The big turning factor for me, so the big thing that pointed out that I had acne, was my brother's wedding. I was a bridesmaid, and the morning of the wedding, all the family had come together to have like a breakfast, and my nan, she said, "Oh Leslie, what's happened to your face?" And I remember just being shattered. That was how bad my acne had got, and I hadn't noticed. I remember just waking up in the morning, going to uni, just shoving my hair up in a bun, not putting on any makeup, and running out the door. And not really looking in the mirror and seeing what was happening to myself, because I just put it on the back burner. It was not important to me. You know, I was happy and secure in my relationship, but I didn't realize how bad my acne had got. So that was the turning point for me. I was very insecure in myself. I didn't wear makeup, so that wasn't a factor. I tried different things and helping to settle down my acne. I changed my diet, I cut dairy out, tried the contraceptive pill for a couple of months, and that didn't work. Felt like I tried everything. I tried high-end, I tried just basic, you know, drugstore products on my face, and nothing had seemed to work. And then I'd had enough, so I went to the doctor. So when I went to the GP, he'd gone through, had I tried this, had I tried that. We did like a blood test to make sure that all my hormone levels were okay. And then he gave me one last try. It was like a retinol cream to use in conjunction with a, what is it called? A steroid. To try with this medication. And so I did that for 3 or 4 months, and I still had no change. So when I went back, he then gave me a referral to a dermatologist. So up until that point, I hadn't had to pay any money besides the medication, which was quite cheap. So when I went to the dermatologist, this is the part where it can get pretty pricey. I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but in Australia, you know, all your general medical is all bulk billed and paid for by the government. But when you go to see a specialist, especially like a dermatologist, you pay out of pocket, so you pay privately. So I went and saw my dermatologist on the Gold Coast, and she looked at my skin. She gave me 2 options. She said, we can try another, I think it was an antibiotic, the thing that I had been trying before for a longer period, but she would give me a heavier dose, or I can try Roaccutane. She said, I can't decide for you what you want to do. We could try the antibiotic, I think it was, the medication, and that would be a lot less side effects, a lot less taxing on your body. However, I can't guarantee you'll get the results. Or we can try Roaccutane, where we know you're going to get results, and it's basically with 90% certainty that you're going to get clear skin. It's just there is all these other side effects that go along with it, and it is expensive, and you will have to keep coming back. By this time, I'd had enough. I just said, no, let's just go with the Roaccutane. Let's try that. So she wrote me out a script. I had to get a couple of blood tests done just to make sure that everything was okay. And then I also had to talk to her about some more personal things, about whether I was using contraception. You can't get pregnant while you're on Roaccutane. Roaccutane is a very strong drug, and it will affect any new unborn babies that you have, so you cannot get pregnant at all. So I had to sign a kind of a waiver or an agreement. I would use 2 points of contraception, so I agreed to do that. when I was at the GP, she did also give me all the, she just laid out all the side effects, the dryness side effects and the mental health side effects. This is what she told me at the time, 2016. There had been previous correlations with mental health and Roaccutane, but at that time there was no proven studies or statistics to say that Roaccutane does cause depression or does increase your rate of suicide. She explained to me that I would be on a much lower dose. I'd start on a really low dose and she'd put me on it for an extended period of time. So instead of doing like a really, because I didn't have severe acne, I had bad acne but it wasn't severe. To me it was bad, but to someone else it's probably not that bad. But it affected me and my self-esteem and my confidence, so that's why I had to, well, I did something about it. But because it wasn't severe and it was kind of hormonal and really in certain areas, that I went on a lower dose but for a longer period of time. So I did that, and I think I started on 10 milligrams, so a really low dose, once a day for maybe a couple of months, and my acne did get worse. I'll put in some photos here of what my acne looked like. By this time I was getting all the side effects. I actually do have still half a box of my last Roaccutane script. So I was started on the 10 milligrams and then I was increased up to the 20 milligrams, and then after the 20 milligrams I'm pretty sure I was doing, she wanted me to go up to 30 milligrams, but they don't do 30 milligrams, so what I had to do was one tablet one day and then the next tablet 2 days. One tablet one day and then the next day 2 tablets, so that worked out to be 30 milligrams. And then once I started increasing the dose, that's when I really noticed a lot of changes. Put some photos in here of how it changed throughout, and I'll put the dates as well. So I was on Roaccutane for 9 months, and by the end of it I'd come back down to just the 20 milligrams once a day. And I stopped that. But for the last 3 months of Roaccutane I basically had no acne. So I was completely cleared. It was really hard not to just stop. Once my acne had cleared up, it was really hard to keep going and keep persisting with all these side effects and all these things that you need to be cautious and aware of when I had already finished and got the results that I wanted. My side effects. I was dry. I was so dry. I can't even explain it. The first side effect I got, and I think this was within the first 2 weeks, my lips just got so dry. I couldn't smile without them cracking. They were so painful. They were swollen, and I literally had to have Blistex on 24/7. It was just crazy, And then I got the really dry skin. I think I was lucky because I actually started Roaccutane and did most of the journey over summer. I think if I would have done it over winter I would have been a lot drier and the side effects would have been a lot worse. That wasn't too much of an issue for me. I think it was more so the dry face. Like smiling, I felt like my face was like sunburnt or dry, and the lips. That was the worst part. I did find I got dandruff really bad. I normally have really oily hair, but yeah, so that really dried out. And another thing with my hair is my hair just thinned out completely. I remember my cat is at the door. Hey honey. Hello. Come say hello. Come say hello to the camera. Oh. Honey. Oh, good boy, good boy. Oh no, hair everywhere. The one thing I didn't forget to talk about was my skin. I broke out in this rash. So it was like these little dots all over my body. I'll insert a photo. And I had to use like a steroid cream for that, like a really thick gel. like just kept coming up here and there throughout using Roaccutane, but when I used the gel it just kind of went away. Another side effect that I had was my mood. My boyfriend thought I turned into a monster. And like I said before, I don't know whether this was because of the Roaccutane or because of the stressful period in my life, but I was moody, I was sad. I don't know if I could say that I was depressed, but it was a really dark time in my life. I was crying all the time, and I remember just thinking, like, if this is Roaccutane, is it worth it? Is it worth me feeling so sad all the time? But I persisted with it, and I think it did get better. When I started to see the improvements in my skin, that's when I felt a lot better in myself, and I felt confidence. Oh. Taking Roaccutane I found was expensive. Luckily in Australia, our GP appointments and our blood tests are all bulk billed, so everything is free. The only expense that I had to pay for was the actual medication and the specialist appointments with the dermatologist. The medication was $37.80, so $40 for, I think this is a month's worth. Dermatologist appointments, I think the first one was like $200, and then from there they were like $150 or something or other. So for some people that probably isn't a lot of money, but because I was at uni, I was working only part-time at a takeaway store at donut time, I didn't have the money to be splurging, and I didn't have, I just didn't have the money. So for me that was really expensive. It was worth every single moment, every single tear, every single rash, every single dry spot, every single crack in my lip. It was all worth it for me. I think the hardest part for me was that I wasn't supposed to be drinking. At that time in my life I was partying pretty hard for the whole 9 months. I think I drank maybe 4 or 5 times. Yeah, I shouldn't have, but I did. And that was the hardest part, was the social aspect. The social aspect when my acne got worse, the social aspect that I wasn't supposed to be drinking, the social aspect that I shouldn't have been out in the sun. I had to cover up all my skin. My skincare routine, I just went on a skincare routine that was recommended from my dermatologist. I'd never heard or knew of the brand Avene before I had started, so that was recommended to me because she wanted me to use something really gentle and not rough on my skin. So I'll go through each thing. The first thing was the Avene Extremely Gentle Cleanser Lotion. This was the cleanser that I used throughout. You don't actually use it in the shower. How I used it is I had a shower, you know, washed my face with just water, and then afterwards I'd put this on my skin. I would rub it right in. I would leave it on for 60 seconds, and then I would get a like a makeup remover pad and just wipe it off. You didn't use water, you just wiped it off with the makeup pad. And this is for hypersensitive and irritable skin, so I think that's why I was recommended that, because it's extremely gentle. And then the thermal spring water, not sponsored by Avene, just love Avene. So I just give this a spray on my face, and I found that if I was ever really dry, or I felt like, because you get that sunburn feeling sometimes, I felt that this was really refreshing. So I don't think it actually does anything for your skin, but it feels nice. And then I used the Avene Skin Recovery Cream in Rich. I use the Rich one, but at the moment I'm still using Avene, and I'm only using the normal one. I've actually cut it off just to get the last bits out. So this is the packet, and I like it. I still use it now in winter when I get dry skin. In summer I cannot wear it because it's so thick, and I sweat and I get oily. So this is definitely a winter thing, but it's something that I've continued to use. And then I used Blistex. God bless Blistex. I had like 7 of these everywhere. I had one in my uni bag, one in my handbag, one beside my bed, one in the bathroom. Did not have enough of these, and they're pretty inexpensive. And it has SPF in it too, so that was my lifesaver. And then for moisturizer, so I just use this inexpensive one from the drugstore. It's just your generic Sorbolene cream. It works for me. I used it twice a day most of the time, and I still use it now, you know, every couple of days, and I feel like my skin's getting dry. And when I did get that rash, she told me to change the soap I was using. I was just using like a you know, a liquid pump soap, and she said no, go and use an extra gentle soap. I think I used, oh, I can't remember the name, let me Google it. So I just used Dermaveen Extra Gentle Soap Free Body Wash. I loved it. I didn't mind it. I would still probably be using it, although it's pretty expensive for body wash. So for like 1 litre it's like $23 from the chemist, and for me just your normal body wash from Coles or Woolies works fine. The one thing that I was told not to use, definitely avoid and stay away from scrubs and exfoliants. Your skin is really gentle, it's really sensitive, and it's really irritable at the moment, so do not use scrubs or exfoliants. You don't need to. And even after I finished my course, I said, what should I use now? And she told me just to avoid exfoliants for now. I will show you my skincare routine now. I still use, well, I changed. This is the one she told me to use because I do have initially really oily skin, but now I have, you know, like a combination skin, so I use this one. So it's just a cleansing, what is it? Cleansing gel, soap-free face and body for oily blemish prone skin. I'm using this at the moment just because my skin's still dry from winter, but in summer I use the Clearance Matte, the mattifying emulsion product. So that one's just to avoid getting oily, I suppose, because I get really sweaty. And at the moment I'm also just using bio oil over my body in certain parts that I want to clear up some scars, and on my face. My face at the moment, I will show you. I'll come right in. I do have a bit of tinted moisturiser on at the moment too. It's not the clearest it's been. It was really clear for a long time. So I did get a microdermabrasion last week for the first time, and I think it's actually made my skin worse. I don't know, is that something that normally happens? I'll have to Google it, or you can let me know in the comments below. So the first couple of months were really hard. Like extremely hard. It was not easy, and my skin got a lot worse before it got better. For me, it was worth it in the end. Ask my boyfriend, and I don't know if he has the same opinion. There was a point that I felt like I probably should have stopped. I got really sad, and I probably did get depressed, but I didn't want to stop using the Roaccutane, so I didn't talk to my dermatologist about that. I probably should have, but I didn't. I don't know. But if you are feeling that way, I do really recommend talking to someone about it, whether it's your GP or your dermatologist or a counsellor or anything, because I don't know whether it was the Roaccutane or not. I'm happy with how my skin is. I don't think there's anything else that I need to explain. Like, it's pretty straightforward. The dermatologist gave me all the information of what I should and shouldn't do. A lot of the things I shouldn't do, I still did in small amounts. I'm more than happy to have a discussion with you over YouTube or via email. So I think that's really it for my story. But I feel so clear and comfortable in my skin now that I don't wear makeup at all to work or daily. So yeah, nice. Bye.